Good evening, Fernwood. It is your host that won't ghost, Neil here, and it's time for us to make a toast to the 300th episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Yeah, it's the 300th episode from May 27th, 1977. Yesterday, some people revealed their sins, so why don't we keep up with the neighborhood gossip? Over at the Jeter residence, Merle, Wanda, and Adeline were preparing for Sunday school, which Merle was holding so that he could make an impression on the Republican Party. Guests started to arrive and revealed their individual dramas. Mary asked Tom to hold back on his snide comments about Merle, as the Shumways had a mild face-off before their dinner later that day. Grandpa Larkin and Adeline seemed to hit it off, and Merle welcomed guest Buzz McGregor of the Republican Party before starting his speech. Merle's theme was Love Thy Neighbor, which got a titter from George, who made a crack about Martha being with Max Slattery. And then Merle encouraged folks to confess their sins, and that started a round of revelations, which included Heather admitting that she was in love with Dennis Foley. Mary, of course, was sitting next to Buzz, who admits that Merle seems like he has exactly what the country wants to buy in 1980. Then over at Martha's apartment, Martha and Mac are preparing the dinner where she will reveal exactly who she's planning to stay with. Kathy brings in George, who is bearing flowers and at least one crack or another towards Martha. And of course the men stage their own challenge of strength. George really wants to impress Martha, so Kathy recommends showing off his new bug gun, and when he does, he accidentally pulls the tablecloth, which starts a yelling match between Martha and George. Martha says that she and George are now exes, and George leaves screaming, so Martha resolves to stay with Mac, even though there's an omen over their heads that if she stays with Mac, they will both be doomed. Then in the Hartman kitchen, Mary gets a visit from Dennis Foley, who remarks that his parents think that she and he belong together. Dennis says that he wants to make Mary happy, and plants a kiss on her lips. We end the episode at the Capri Lounge with Wanda Jeter having a martini with herself. Kathy Shumway shows up to lament her life, and then Tom Hartman steps in and asks if he can sit with them. After the bartender asks Tom if he'd like a drink, he says no, and then Kathy admits that Tom is a very handsome man and that when she was younger she had a very big crush on him. A romantic song comes on and Wanda suggests that she and Tom dance together, and then Kathy cuts in, and then Wanda cuts in, and they dance together, and this is as happy as Tom has been in ages. Everyone, after yesterday's episode, my feelings were really mixed up. I'm fairly confused, but I'm excited for today's episode, so let us begin.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman! Good.
Loretta.
Now we'll get a little bit more.
Loretta, honey, I've been thinking. I've been doing some powerful thinking lately about just how the boy is going to grow up to be.
Well, honey's gonna grow up to be fine, as long as he gets his 3 square meals a day. One more bite.
That ain't what I mean, sweetheart.
Charlie,
what I mean is...
No, Charlie, I know what you mean, but I really don't want to hear any more of that talk about how our very own boy shouldn't be with us. Now, why would the Lord have given us Johnny Doe if he didn't want us to do for the boy? Now, just answer me that question, Charlie.
Well, honey, maybe it's a test. Like a test of our faith and our love for Johnny Doe as well as for the Lord.
Sure, it's a test, honey. I agree it is, and we're going to pass it with flying colors because we're going to raise our boy to be a fine, strong Christian, aren't we, Johnny?
When maybe what the good Lord had in mind for him was to be a fine, strong Bigfoot.
Well, look at him, Charlie. Why is he doing it? I mean, all you did was say Bigfoot.
Yeah. Easy, Johnny Doe. Take it easy, fella. See, honey, it ain't natural. It just ain't natural this way. I mean, you see the boy, he's got no spunk, honey. I mean, he's even having trouble climbing up the maple tree to visit with the blue jay. And when he gets up there, all he does is just stare at him. I mean, he used to chatter and laugh away, and they used to visit the terrific amount, and now all they do is just look at each other. I mean, honey, it would be a different thing if I was sure the boy was happy here. But the truth of it seems to me, sweetheart, that the boy just seems to be plain miserable.
Charlie, he is not. He loves us.
Yeah, no, he does, honey, in his own way, but I just can't get over the feeling that he's never going to be at home here. I mean, much as I want him to be.
Charlie, now what are we supposed to do? Fling him back outside? I mean, is that what we're supposed to do?
See, what we have here is a problem very much like Tom. Now, Tom loves Mary so much that he's just got to be wrestling with the possibility that Mary may love Dennis Foley more than she loves Tom.
Well, Mary just would never do that. I mean, I know that. She respects her marriage vows much too much, even though she's transgressed once or twice or something. But, honey, I know that in the sight of the Lord, she said all that stuff about for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, all that stuff.
Now, honey, but what if it's given Tom a sickness to do what's supposed to be better for Mary, even if it's worse for Tom or somebody? I don't know. But, honey, what I'm trying to say is sometimes the lovingest thing that you can do for someone is to let them go.
Oh, you ate it all up, honey. That's good. Dessert time. That's good. No, don't eat that part. No, that's not good.
Help him get it out, honey.
There you go.
Used to be he would choose berries and nuts every time over a Twinkie.
Charlie, do you think Twinkies could make him hard of hearing or something? Because, I mean, he didn't even react at all to that howl like he usually does.
We are civilizing him, Loretta.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you should go out in the woods with Bigfoot. Oh, Johnny Doe. Honey, this mama business is enough to just break a person's heart right smack dab in two. The only possible good to even come out of this horrible thing could be maybe kind of a touching story if I ever get on the Johnny Carson show.
Well, you know, honey, that little Sunday school meeting we had yesterday worked out pretty well, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I suppose it was kind of embarrassing for some of those poor people standing up and bearing their lives like that, but boy, it served as proof once again of that special gift you have of getting to people, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, and those Republican Party people, boy, did they love you. I could tell.
No, I couldn't have done it without you, darling. That's for shimmy sure.
Well, thanks, sweetness. You know, my only regret is that the People magazine photographer didn't show up.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's their problem. I think they probably blew a Pulitzer Prize shot there when I laid hands on Mother Shumway.
Yeah, which was certainly preferable to laying hands on daughter Mary.
Well, what are you going to do? You just, out of the blue, going to start in on me now? Is that it?
No, Merle, I'm not starting anything. Merle, I want you to think about something for a minute, if you will. Look, what would happen if we took our one campaign disadvantage and turned it into an asset?
What does that mean?
Well, how about a presidential campaign based on weakness?
Weakness?
Yeah, you know, people will respect a candidate who's every bit as despicable as they are. You know, something like, elect Merle Jeter, a man of the people, for the people, by the people, who sleeps with the people.
Well, you really serious about this, huh?
Oh, I certainly am. What do you think?
Well, I think it's disgusting for openers. And I'll tell you what else I think. I think one of these days you and me are going to have a little powwow on the subject of bad taste.
Oh.
What are you following me for?
Oh, I don't know. Would you open the door, maybe?
Jeez. Well, hi there. How are you? Angela, how are you? Remember Wanda? Look who's here, darling. Hi, hey, bud. How you doing?
Mike, what is that tobacco? That's fantastic, isn't it?
You like that?
Wanda, don't you like that tobacco?
I
told you. I told you. It's going to work out. Yeah.
Well,
How are you?
how would you like a glass of lemonade?
Did you hear that? Lemonade. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's all perfect.
Well, I think we have a surefire candidate here, Buzz.
Of course, you have to understand that with something as important as the presidency at stake here, we cannot be too careful.
Sure.
Oh,
Absolutely.
well,
Yeah.
listen, Buzz. I mean, careful is a word that just happens to be synonymous with the way we Jeters carry on our affairs.
Oh, good. Because you know the party has had so many embarrassments already.
Well,
And the Democrats are going to be tough to beat in 1980.
Right again, Angela. Mm-hmm. And of course, the election's going to be awfully expensive, so we do have to know if there's anything at all in your lives that could be embarrassing to the party in any way.
Honey, I guess we better come clean. You know?
Well, I think, all I can think of is you mean there is that Wanda did have a little affair with the black janitor a while back there, but that's all in the past now. As a matter of fact, just as you rang the bell, we were just about to agree that we would pretty well de-emphasize that during the campaign.
Yeah, right. And of course, there are the countless affairs that Merle himself has had. You know.
Again, no problem, because, at least between the two of us, because we figured the indiscretions, both of them, would cancel each other out, kind of, clean the slate, so to speak. You know what I mean?
The slate, to me, seems slightly filthy.
Well, I tell you, you can, that's certainly true if you look at it from a certain angle.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, what if we just got all this out in the open and told the people the absolute truth?
Oh, wait a minute.
Dynamite.
Good boy, right?
Well, no, what do you mean, Buzz?
Well, I'm saying we've got a couple of swingers here. Let's just go all the way with them.
I think it's a great idea. Oh, Buzz. Buzz,
Yes.
try this on for size.
What?
Jeter is only human.
That's good. That's good. That's awful good.
Jeter is only human. God, I love it.
Hey, wait, how about little buttons that say, don't expect much?
That's great. That's great. That's it. That is it. I feel awfully good about this campaign and our candidate.
A toast? A toast?
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
Lemonade. That's
All right.
Here you go.
To the first woman president of the United States, Wanda Jeter.
Oh my. Oh my. I know something is coming. I know it. I feel it. Now what is it? Yes. The phone is going to ring. It is going to ring right now. Right now. I knew it. Hello, Mary.
Hi, Ma.
I knew it was you. What's wrong?
Ma, you have to think about this thing with Max.
No, Mary, I have the strangest feeling that something terrible is going to happen if I stay here.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
No, I mean tonight. It's like the spirit of Esther is coming down and resting on my head, inside my head. I knew it. I feel it. Oh, if I stay here, something awful is going to happen. Do you believe me?
I don't know, Ma, but maybe that's because I don't know Esther. Ma, do you think maybe... Could you look into the future? Could you look into the future and tell me, what's going to happen between me and Tom and Dennis? I mean, it's really getting important now.
Oh, no, Mary, not now. My head is filling up with all these things, like ironing boards falling and light bulbs exploding, and oh, Lordy, they're all coming into my mind. I hope I am crazy. It would make things so simple.
Okay, just try to relax, okay? Just try to relax. And I'm sure all this is happening just because you're very confused about leaving Daddy, that's all.
Mary, the radio is going to start playing.
That's a good idea, Ma. Why don't you listen to the radio? Why don't you turn on the radio, take 2 aspirins, get some rest, and I'll call you in the morning, okay?
Oh, no, Mary, you are no help at all because when the radio starts playing, something terrible is going to happen to our family.
Ma, something terrible is always happening to our family. Now, you're not crazy.
Mary, there he is now.
Hey, Martha. Well, I tell you what. I'm willing to bet $1. And every time I drive between Fernwood and Dayton, it gets further and further apart. What's the matter with you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
No, Mac, I haven't seen a ghost. It's just that I see things before they happen.
Well, lots of things are going to happen now that we're together. I mean, we got our whole lives to spend together, Martha.
No, Mac, I was talking about the ironing board.
The ironing board? What's that got to do with our future, Martha? Martha, let me take you away somewhere.
Mac, the ironing board.
Honey, it's all right. Now, listen, just settle down. You're really heated up here, aren't you? Now, listen, just calm down. A vacation is what you need, just a good vacation. How about Cincinnati? We could kind of think of it as a honeymoon.
Now, Mac, the light bulb is going to be next.
Now, speaking of honeymoons, there's something that we really ought to sort out here. Martha, I'd kind of like you and me to be a permanent thing.
Mac!
Martha, I'll place it later, okay? Are you listening to me?
Mac, now the radio is going to play.
Martha, will you stop worrying about all these things? I'll find you a nice place with good wiring. You won't have to worry about all this silly stuff. Martha, will you please listen? I want you to marry me.
There it is, Mac. The radio is playing.
Martha, are you listening? Listen, will you marry me?
No.
You won't?
No.
But Martha, I need you. I want you.
Oh, I know, Mac. I know, but it is all coming true. The whole thing. And if I don't leave here right away, something terrible will happen to my family. And you. Oh, forgive me, Mac. Forgive me.
Martha.
But I guess we were just not meant to be.
Martha.
Bye, Mac.
Martha. Martha! Martha!
There we are.
Go.
My parents are moving on tomorrow.
Yes, Mary, this is the last time we'll be seeing you.
Oh, well, only for a little while. No, I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a lot of Mary. And that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And with any luck at all, we may soon be hearing the patter of little feet, eh, Dennis?
That would be nice.
Yeah, that sure would.
Oh, I sure would love to have a couple of little grandchildren to spoil.
I wonder if they'd have curly hair or straight hair.
I bet they'd have your lips.
Don't do that here. So where are you headed off to?
Tokyo.
What?
First Tokyo, then Bermuda.
Yes, you see, I have to pick up a camera first before we go deep sea fishing.
Yes. Woo!
Well, now that we all have a little of the vintage bubbly, I should like to propose a toast, first to ourselves, and then to this handsome couple.
May their lives be as full and happy as ours have been.
To Mary.
Oh, thank you. Excuse me, but I just have hives. To the Foleys and a wonderful bon voyage. I hope I don't have fleas or...
And to you, Fiona, darling.
And to you, Richard, darling.
Margaret.
Well, that's just a little, those are our nicknames. You see, for each other, it's just a private joke.
How's champagne, Mary?
Oh, it's very good. Very good for an alcoholic beverage.
Oh, I'll just bet you'd like it a lot more with a little sherbet in it.
Oh, yes, Dennis just loves champagne and raspberry sherbet.
I thought you hated raspberry sherbet.
Well, maybe he does now. But, you should have seen him when he was about 9. When he had his tonsils out. I will bet you that he ate 10 gallons of raspberry sherbet.
You still have your tonsils, don't you? Don't you? Come on, open your mouth. Come on, open your mouth. Open it. No, wider now, wider. Let me just see. Oh, yeah, he still got them.
I was only improvising.
Oh, well, if you'd learned your lines, you wouldn't have to improvise.
You mean these people aren't your real parents?
Mary, I can explain.
Well, they're actors?
Yeah. One of us is.
You, folks can leave now.
Sorry.
What, are they rented? What, are these people here are rented people? Dennis, how could you do that? Oh, goodbye. Oh, listen, goodbye. And you were wonderful. I mean, you were wonderful.
Thank you
really
so
wonderful.
much.
It was just so nice meeting you. And you were very good. Really, except for that one mistake, just wonderful. And you should pursue careers and everything. It was just wonderful.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Mary.
Bye.
It was really nice
Great meeting you.
Nice
Just
working with
great.
you.
Yeah, if you're ever
Thank
in
you.
Philly. Okay,
Thanks.
bye.
You hired actors to pose as your parents, Dennis? How could you do that?
I really am an orphan, Mary.
Why would you do that?
To impress you.
To impress me with fake parents?
Mary, I want everything about me to be perfect for you, including parents.
Dennis, it was cruel to make me believe in those people.
Mary, I was cruel, and I was dishonest, and I was hurtful to you. My love for you changed my character.
It changed my marriage, too.
Do you trust that I love you? Don't you?
Why? Why?
Do you love me?
I feel sick.
Do you love me?
No, I can't. I can't now. I feel sick. Yes. No, yes. No, Can we get back to this one later?
I'm feeling sick to my stomach. We'll get back to that, but that's where I'm feeling right. Oh. We start the episode with Charlie and Loretta having their conversation about JD, Johnny Doe, and Charlie stated this week that he thinks it might be better for JD to be out in nature, and this is him expressing that opinion again. He talks about things that were off screen, things like him climbing up the tree to talk to the birds, and he's not doing that anymore. He doesn't respond to the wolf howl that he hears. And Loretta protests at first, but then starts to see Charlie's side. And it's sad because Charlie and Loretta really do love JD, but what they're giving him may not be for his best interest. It might not be good for him. That's the question, right? Like, as parents, that's a question that I imagine lots of parents ask. I had mentioned when JD was introduced that I thought of him as a special needs sort of allegory. He was the metaphor for being a special needs child. And in this case, his needs are very special. It's difficult because he isn't able to communicate verbally with them. And the nonverbals that Charlie and Loretta have picked up convince them that he's miserable, which is probably true. And I don't know what I would do if I were in their case. I'm not sure what it is that is making him miserable. He shuddered at the sound of the word Bigfoot, which is English, so it's something that I guess we don't know how he feels about Bigfoot. We don't know how he feels about being out in nature. We only know what Charlie and Loretta have observed and told us here. I still feel like it's a really tough place for the Haggars to be in. And then we're with the Jeters, with Wanda doing her weird knitting project and Merle whittling and doing their American Craftsman bit. Kind of going through their little drama and talking about yesterday's Sunday school meeting, up to the point where Wanda remembers that Merle, has an interest in Mary Hartman. I get the feeling that the 1970s was a very interesting, and by that I mean chaotic and troubling and confusing time for American politics. We're about 4 years after Watergate at this point, 3 or 4 years, I don't remember exactly when Watergate happened. That was a major black eye for the Republican Party. And Wanda suggests, after Jimmy Carter was elected, that Merle run on the platform of weakness. And then Buzz and Amanda show up, and it turns into more strategizing for the campaign to come, right? Because they want to recruit a Jeter. They start bandying about ideas about how to run. Jeter, don't expect much. Jeter is only human. And then it comes out that they intend for Wanda Jeter to be the person on the ticket in 1980, which is pretty wild considering even today, 45 years later, we still haven't had a woman in the presidency. We do have a female vice president now, and that's a relief. But definitely, please leave your political ideologies at home. I don't want to hear it. So then we are at Martha's apartment, and she is jittery and terrified, and she appears to be able to see things in the future just seconds before they happen. Mac comes home from a long drive, apparently, and he's starting to get ideas of, maybe we could have some kids, maybe we can live in Cincinnati. But Martha really is just seeing this omen come true before her eyes. Everything that she predicts happens. And I don't know why it's happening, other than the fact that it was something you could easily do on a TV set. And it's sort of spooky that you say something's going to happen, and then without you making it happen, it happens. Martha has to apologize to Mac and leave him, and she leaves the apartment running. And of course, that's a disappointment for Mac, but if this doom is as bad as Martha imagines, then it's probably a good reason to run. And then we are at the Capri Lounge, and I'll be honest and say that I had my suspicions about the Foleys, Fred and Fiona. I didn't expect it to be quite so sudden, but I definitely thought, wow, these people are a little bit too idyllic. And this, for me, is another violation from Dennis. He has completely lied to Mary. He just wants to manipulate Mary into being with him. That's what he has done for the last several weeks. And even before. I really felt like he was a manipulative jerk in season 1. I know people like him. He's very likable. He's a good-looking guy. But he is really gross to me. At this point, Mary sees that she has been lied to, and she has been manipulated through this process of losing her marriage toward Dennis. Dennis hired 2 actors who apparently weren't that good at improvising. As a person who's spent a lot of time improvising on stages, well, I think it's amusing. Mary is really starting to feel how deeply Dennis has manipulated her. And that turns my stomach. So everyone, we are at the end of episode 300, and I had asked a question of the week, which was, who were the dropped storylines and characters that we wanted to see? And for this Friday, I'm just going to drop down 2 that I remember that I really wish we knew more about. The first is Father DeMarco, who was with us at the end of season 1 and sort of on a Thornbird's trip with Kathy Shumway. And in episode 128, they leave together. That's a couple episodes before the end of the season. Father DeMarco and Kathy leave together, and then by the time we see Kathy again at the start of season 2, she doesn't want to talk about him. He didn't have anything to do with the pregnancy that she's experiencing at the start of the season. He just disappeared. We don't know what happened. And I kind of wish that we knew. Don't know if there was some contract thing or maybe the actor found something else to do. It's a mystery to me. The second dropped storyline is from very early in season 1 with some characters that disappeared shortly afterward. And there were other dropped storylines, but this is the one that always seemed like it really... They planted a seed and then they never paid it off. They just forgot. And that was Blanche and Leroy Fetters and their daughter Jenny. In episode 23, they get a call. This is a rare Blanche and Leroy scene all by themselves. I think it was their only scene that was only the 2 of them. They get a call from their daughter Jenny, who was run away, and she's apparently with some hippies. I don't know exactly what happens, but we don't hear any more of that storyline at all, ever. And then by episode 43, well, we know what happens to Leroy. And then Blanche moves away within the next episode or 2, and then there's a new family. The McCulloughs move in really shortly after that. So I'm very curious where this disappeared Jenny Fetters showed up in the world. I'm curious if maybe Jenny Fetters is off with baby Shumway and Father DeMarco and the original Merle and his buddy, who were another storyline that I'm not going to talk about. But so we have some forgotten things. I think by next week we'll have a new set of questions that I'll have asked. So let's just say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making a toast. And we will see you next week in Fernwood.